That's great. So I'll see you guys. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Okay, looks like it was only a dream. Cool. Hey, everybody. I'm your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I put out 2 videos a week. You have my Nails in a Coffin series, which comes out every Friday, and I also have my horror movie superlative series, which I am collaborating with my good friend, Colonel Cook, and I'll have a link to some videos up here. We spent the last 11 weeks up here at Camp Crystal Lake, and it looks like our time here is almost to its end. So, here's a summary of the average Nails in a Coffin for the first 11 movies in the Friday the 13th franchise. I've been able to elude Jason for 11 movies now, so let's see if we can make it to the end of our summer vacation at the lake, and maybe it was all a dream. Damn it. Okay, everybody, let's get started. Sit back, relax, have a drink, let's tell some tales, grab your s'mores, and let's put some nails in a coffin for 2009's Friday the 13th. When the movie starts, we're actually on June 13th, 1980, which was a Friday. The first kill is a flashback to Pamela Voorhees' decapitation. It's a quick flashback with only the beheading. We didn't see actually what led up to it, but we know because we've seen the original Friday the 13th. But based on this movie alone, there wasn't a lot to go on, so I was thinking, should I skip it or should I actually nail Jason's mom? We'll skip it. In the flashback, we do see that Jason actually did witness his mother's death. After she's killed, he goes over to her body, picks up her locket, and he also picks up the machete that was used to kill her. We then jump to present day, so year of release, 2009, and there are a group of young adults on a camping trip. Richie and Amanda are enjoying each other's company in a tent. Wade is all by himself and he goes to use the bathroom. While he's up, he finds a crop of marijuana growing in the woods and he's really excited. And while he's enjoying his find, he also finds Jason standing next to this crop of marijuana. Wade freaks out and starts to back up screaming, "What the F is that? What the F is that?" Well, Jason catches up to him and the screen cuts to black as Jason swings his machete into Wade. For the first kill, I'm going to award Wade 2 nails in a coffin. When he saw Jason, he knew something was not right and he had to GTFO right away. And actually in this movie, we get a very fast moving Jason. He's calculating and he even sets traps for people. Wade tried to get away, but Jason was too fast for him and he did die via machete. So, first kill, 2 nails in a coffin for Wade. Richie and Amanda were in the middle of some fun in their tent. They hear something outside and Richie goes to investigate, leaving Amanda alone in a tent. While Richie is gone, he actually finds Wade's dead body and he goes running back to the campsite. Jason then appears at the tent and slashes it away and Amanda screams as Jason grabs her in her sleeping bag. Very similar to the kill in Friday the 13th Part 7. But instead of smashing her into a tree, he hangs a tent over the campfire. While she's burning, Richie is running back to the tent and he sees his girlfriend's predicament. However, his leg gets stuck in a bear trap and he's actually forced to watch his girlfriend burn to death. I'm giving Amanda 2 nails in a coffin. By the time Jason slashed into the tent, Amanda had no time really to do anything. Jason immediately grabbed her in her sleeping bag and then tied her up over the fire. So she was trapped in her sleeping bag and couldn't get out of it, and she died in a very painful, gruesome death. So 2 nails in a coffin for Amanda. While Richie is stuck in the bear trap, Mike and Whitney are looking around this dilapidated cabin they found in the woods. They actually find Mrs. Voorhees' head hidden in a wall. They freak out and then a door slams shut. Jason is actually under the floor in the basement. Mike is down on the floor looking underneath the door to see if he can see anything, but Jason takes his machete and starts to stab it up through the floor. Mike, who's still on the floor, is scrambling to get away, but Jason is able to stab him multiple times. He hits him in the leg and hits him in the hand, and Mike hasn't gotten off the floor yet. He then pulls Mike down into the basement and kills him, and Whitney actually starts to run away. Mike earned himself 1 nail in the coffin. There was no reason for him and Whitney to be looking around this broken down, dirty, probably really smell bad cabin. And they put themselves in a really bad position. I don't know why he got on the floor just to look underneath the door jamb. And when the machete first started to stab through the floor, he could have jumped to his feet and run away. But he really didn't get to his feet. He was just scrambling on his hands and knees instead of jumping to his feet and getting the heck out of there. So these dumb decisions actually led to his death, and they led to him getting one nail in the coffin. Richie still has his leg caught in the bear trap, and he just watched his girlfriend burn to death. Whitney, who just witnessed her boyfriend's death, comes running up to Richie. She's trying to help him get out of the bear trap. His leg is all mangled. And as she's helping him, Jason comes running up to him and slams his machete into Richie's head. Poor Richie, I'm going to give him 3 nails in a coffin because he had his leg caught in a bear trap and his leg really was badly mangled. And he was trying hard as he could to get free so he can go help his girlfriend. Unfortunately, he couldn't get out of his bear trap. Whitney shows up and attempts to try and help him at least get free, although it's a little too late since, Amanda did die burning in the sleeping bag. When Whitney was trying to help him get free, he sees Jason run up to him, and before he can do anything, he had a machete slammed into his head. So, considering everything he had just experienced in the last 5 minutes, and he never stopped trying to get out of the bear trap, I'm going to give Richie 3 nails in the coffin. Mannequin fan Donny is hanging out in his barn, and I think he actually grows the weed that was found earlier. He's the local weirdo in town. He's talking really gross to one of his mannequins, and Jason appears behind him. They have a short struggle with each other, and this results in Donny actually knocking the sack that Jason was wearing on his head off. And this is very upsetting to Donny. He doesn't know what the hell he's looking at. And before Donny can even process what the hell's happening and what he's looking at, Jason slashes his throat with the machete. I'm going to give Donny 2 nails in a coffin. When he first saw Jason, he did swing a bat at him, but Jason was able to deflect it. Donny did try and fight Jason. He swung and punched at him and was able to knock the sack off his head that he was wearing. But this is where Donny's going to lose a nail because I was going to give him 3 nails, but he kind of froze and stopped fighting when he saw Jason's face. I probably would have fought harder if I saw something that terrifying. So when Donny was contemplating what he was looking at, he stopped fighting, and this gave Jason enough time to take his machete and slice it through Donny's neck, ending his mannequin-loving life. So he's going to get 2 nails in the coffin. After Jason kills Donny, he bends down to pick up the sack that Donny had knocked off his head. Obviously, Jason doesn't like the way he looks. But as he's picking up the sack, he finds a hockey mask laying on the floor. He picks it up, puts it on, takes a nice look at himself in the mirror. He likes what he sees, and we get the classic Jason look for the remake. Nolan and Chelsea took Trent's boat out on the lake, even though Trent told him not to do so. But Trent is driving the boat, and Chelsea is wakeboarding topless behind him. Chelsea wipes out, and Nolan turns the boat around, about to go pick her up. Well, after he turns the boat around, an arrow is shot into the back of his head, coming out of his eye, ending his life. Nolan never knew what hit him, so he's going to get 2 nails in a coffin. He was just having a fun day on the lake with his girlfriend. No idea that a maxed maniac would be there to kill him, especially with a bow and arrow from the shoreline. And it's obvious he really did nothing stupid. He was driving a boat on the lake like, many people have done. So he didn't do anything wrong. 2 nails in a coffin for Nolan. Chelsea didn't see what happened to Nolan. And Nolan actually had turned the boat around when he was killed. So now this boat is headed towards Chelsea as a unmanned water missile. She sees the boat headed towards her. It's not slowing down or moving, but she really doesn't get out of the way in time, and the boat smacks her in her head, and, she's got a now wound on her head. She seems okay, but, she probably does have a concussion. When, she's coming to trying to figure out what exactly happened, she sees Jason standing on the edge of the lake unsheathing his machete. Obviously, she thinks this is a really bad deal right now, so she goes to swim away to try and get away from Jason. And she decides to hide underneath the dock that Jason is standing on. He's walking on the dock, and she's trying to remain as still and as quiet as possible. And when she thinks it's all clear, Jason actually takes his machete, stabs it through the dock into the top of her head, killing her. 1 nail in the coffin for Chelsea. She had enough time to get away from this approaching boat, and she didn't move at all, and it bonked her in the head, pretty hard. When she saw Jason, she did know not to go anywhere near him, but I don't think it was a good idea for her to hide underneath the dock that he was standing on. If she wasn't thinking clearly, it's probably because she was hit on the head hard and had a concussion. And she had enough time and room to get away from the boat, but she didn't. So, taking all those decisions into consideration, it led to her death, and I'm going to give Chelsea one nail in the coffin. Chewie is Jason's next victim. He's partying with the others in Trent's cabin. He does a flaming shot, but this burns his lips, and he stumbles back, breaking a chair. This makes Trent go all poopy pants since there was a family heirloom or something. So Chewie goes into the tool shed to find some tools to help him fix the chair. While he's in the tool shed, he's messing around with the hockey stick and he breaks a light bulb. He bends down to pick up some of the glass and he bumps into Jason. He's not sure what to think at first. He tries to hand Jason the hockey stick saying, hey, this matches your outfit. But Jason pushes him down and starts to bash him around. Chewie knows this is not good, so he grabs a screwdriver and he's trying to stab Jason to try and at least defend himself. But Jason is way too strong and he takes a screwdriver, which is still in Chewie's hand, and he forces it into Chewie's throat, right underneath his chin, and it goes slowly into his neck, killing him in a very painful manner. Chewie, he at least tried, and that goes a long way in this franchise, so I'm going to give him 3 nails in a coffin. Once he knew he was in trouble, he grabbed anything he could get his hands on to at least try and defend himself. He could only get a screwdriver, and he fought as hard as he could, but he was just overpowered by Jason, and Jason was able to push the screwdriver slowly and painfully into Chewie's throat, earning him 3 nails in a coffin. After Chewie is killed, Clay and Jenna return. They were looking for Whitney, Clay's sister. They tell everyone that there's a killer out there, and he's the one that just got the power. So Lawrence knows his buddy Chewie's out there, so he wants to go looking for him. Lawrence is in the tool shed looking around, and he looks in this freezer, and we're all kind of expecting him to find Chewie in there, but he's not. And as Lawrence closes the freezer, Chewie's body falls down from the raptors, scaring him. And this is when Lawrence meets Jason. He fights Jason, and he doesn't go down easy. Lawrence was actually able to wound Jason in the leg, and he takes off running back to the house. Jason runs after him. He picks up an axe and hurls it through the air at Lawrence, and it slams into his back. But Lawrence is not dead yet, and he's actually trying to call for help. Jason actually catches up to him. He picks him up, turns him around, and then slaps him down on his back, causing an axe to go burst through his chest. Easy 3 nails in a coffin for Lawrence. He didn't freeze when he saw Jason. He knew it was some bad news, and he fought to get away from him, even able, wounding him in the leg. How many of Jason's victims were actually able to hurt Jason? Not many at all. He even held on with an axe in his back before Jason could finish the job. So, one of my favorite characters in the franchise, and a solid 3 nails in a coffin for Lawrence, and surely going to nominate him for my Golden 3 Nail Award. Clay, Jenna, Trent, and Brie are still in the house. Trent is on his own program, and he goes upstairs to get a gun. Brie also goes upstairs to find Trent, and she's looking around the house as well. And we get a common trope where the victim pulls back the shower curtain, but we don't see anything. But when Brie does pull back the shower curtain, Jason is behind her. He grabs her and holds his hand over her mouth. He carries her over to some mounted deer antlers on the wall, and she gets impaled through her back. The lovely Brie, I'm going to give her 1 nail in the coffin. This is another instance of people splitting up when they all should have stayed together. I don't know why she had to go upstairs and find Trent, and we all know splitting up is never a good idea in a horror movie, especially when there's a giant killing maniac out there that just killed 2 of your friends. And you go looking around the house all by yourself in nothing but a shirt. 1 nail in the coffin for you, Brie. Officer Brack is in his patrol car, and he's slowly pulling up to the cabin. When he gets to the door, he knocks and says, "Open up, police." Just as Jason jumps down from the roof, and Officer Brack turns around right as Jason grabs him, and he takes a fire poker and impales her right through the officer's head and through the front door. Officer Brack didn't have much time to really do anything as soon as Jason dropped down behind him, so I'm going to give him 2 nails in a coffin. I don't think he was responding to a call since the phone line was down when Trent tried to call earlier. I just think the officer was checking up on things because he knew Clay was in the area trying to look for his missing sisters. And he wasn't acting as if there was any inherent danger since he was slowly going up to the cabin just checking on things. So, Jason, this is a fast Jason, and the officer didn't have much time to do anything as soon as he dropped down. So, I'm going to give Officer Brack 2 nails in the coffin. Resident bro Trent dies next. He runs to the road to go try and find some help, and he gets to the road and he's almost hit by a tow truck. The truck stops and Trent is walking up to the truck slowly. He's standing behind it, looking into the cab with his flashlight, but Jason appears behind Trent. Trent impales the machete right through Trent. He then picks him up and slams him down on a rail spike on the back of the tow truck. The tow truck driver then speeds away with Trent hanging off the back in a satisfying death. I hated Trent. He was a douche for many reasons, and I wanted to give him one nail in the coffin, but I have to say he does deserve 2 nails. He just didn't make enough poor decisions for him to get 1 nail. He was a bully. He was stupid and entitled. He sucked. It was a satisfying death. He was selfish ass, but he actually did earn himself 2 nails in the coffin. For the main Friday the 13th franchise, this is our last death. Jenna and Clay are in the broken down house that Jason was staying in. They hear some screaming coming from the basement. They get down into the crawl space, onto the floor, and into the basement where they find Whitney, Clay's sister. Jason had kidnapped her since she reminded him of his deceased mother. And Jason is quickly approaching them right now, and they must crawl out of this small opening to get out. Clay and Whitney make it out, and Jenna is in the middle of climbing out of the opening, and before anybody knows what's really going on, she gets a machete impaled through her chest. She's killed in a pretty unexpected kill, since we were probably led to believe that Jenna would be, the final girl. Our last death in the movie is going to get 2 nails in a coffin. Like most Jason kills, the victim didn't know what hit them till it was too late. Jenna was brave to go into Jason's house to help Clay, somebody that she just met to help him find his sister. She knew it was dangerous, but she was still there to help, and I really can't fault her for that. It's another surprise kill from Jason from behind, so I'm definitely going to earn Jenna a high 2 nails in a coffin, and I'm probably going to nominate her for the Golden 2 Nail Award, just because, she went to go help out a stranger putting herself in a dangerous position. So 2 nails in a coffin for Jenna. We're at the climax of the movie now. Clay and Whitney are trying to get to safety away from Jason, and Clay is fighting Jason in a barn. Jason gets the upper hand, and he's about to push Clay's head into a tree chipper. Whitney, who has the locket from the beginning of the movie, holds it up, and she's calling to Jason. This is a nice callback to the end of Friday the 13th Part 2, since Jason thinks Whitney looks a lot like his mom. That's why he kidnapped her. While Jason is distracted, Clay grabs a bear trap, slams it in the back of Jason, and then wraps a chain around his neck. Whitney takes the other end of the chain and throws it into the tree chipper. This pulls Jason up for a few seconds, hanging him. A nice callback to Friday the 13th Part 3. But the board breaks that the chain was wrapped around. Jason falls to the ground, but he's still getting pulled into the tree chipper. Whitney says, "Say hi to Mom for me," as she stabs him with the machete, just as the back of Jason's head is pulled into the tree chipper. Then, for reasons unknown to probably all of us, they drag Jason's body to the lake and then push him in the water. Clay kicks his mask in. And when they think their nightmare is finally over, Jason pops up through the dock. A nice callback to the ending of the original Friday the 13th. The movie cuts to black as everybody is screaming. We don't know what happened to Clay or Whitney, but if they both died, I probably would have given them each 1 nail in the coffin, since they didn't make sure Jason was dead. And I would have made sure he had no head, but we can only speculate what happened. But there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my nails in the coffin for Friday the 13th, 2009. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. Here's a summary of the average nails in a coffin for all of the Friday the 13th movies. Be sure to come back here next week for the Friday the 13th wrap-up episode, where I'm going to break down the averages a little further so we can find out which movie has the highest and which movie has the lowest average nails in a coffin. As well, I'm also going to give out my Golden Nail Awards. I hope to see you all here next week for that, and it's also going to be my last chance to avoid Jason, and let's all hope I survive. Uh-oh. Why is it getting dark?